Thank you so much for tuning in. Welcome to the second edition of News Tonight. My name is Micheal Lukomwa, and we'll go straight to what we have for you this time round. Former Tanzanian President and African Union Special Envoy for the Horn of Africa and the Red Sea, particularly South Sudan, Jakaya Kikwete, has met with President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni at State House, Nakasero. Kikwete, who is spearheading regional peace efforts in South Sudan, called on Museveni for consultations on the current security and political situation in the country. The meeting focused on ongoing efforts by regional leaders and the African Union to stabilize South Sudan and prevent a relapse into conflict. Museveni, who's the current East African Community Head of State Chairperson, has been actively involved in South Sudan peace processes over the years, shared his views on the way forward, including the need to sustain dialogue among the warring parties. The Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions has sanctioned 4 murder charges against Christopher Okello Onyum for killing 4 children at Gaba Early Childhood Development Center last week. According to the charge sheet, the prosecution alleges that Christopher Okello Onyum, on the 2nd day of April 2026 at Gaba Early Childhood Development Center in Gaba Trading Zone in Makindye Division, with malice aforethought, unlawfully caused the death of Eteku Gideon, Keisha Agenoroth Otim, Seriange Ignatius, and Odeke Ryan. This afternoon, Okello Onyum appeared before the Chief Magistrate's Court of Makindye, where the charges were read to him and explained. He was remanded to prison until tomorrow, April 8th, when the case will be mentioned. The case is being prosecuted by Jonathan Muwaganya and Anna Kiza, Chief State Attorneys in the Office of the Directorate of Public Prosecution, before Her Worship Nanjala Aida, Senior Magistrate, Grade 1. The case has shaken the community, leaving families grieving and many searching for answers. Justice now begins its course as the prosecution sets out to lay the evidence behind the heartbreaking tragedy before the court for examination. The trial also falls on the heels of a presidential directive to the judiciary last evening to fast-track the trial of prime suspect Okello Onyum and have the proceedings conducted within the community where the crime occurred, so that residents can witness justice being dispensed. The directive, if implemented, could make the case one of the first recent civilian matters to be heard through a community-based mobile court. This was revealed by the principal judge, Jane Francis Abodo, during the funeral service of retired Supreme Court Justice Augustine Nshimye in Kampala. UBC News Tonight. Uganda, Kenya, and Tanzania are ramping up preparations for the 2027 Africa Cup of Nations in what is shaping up to be one of the region's most ambitious joint hosting efforts. The 3 countries affirm they will be ready to host a memorable tournament, as Ngabo Amon reports.
June 9. Uganda has stepped up preparation to co-host the Africa Cup of Nations tournament from June 19 to July 18, 2027, signaling a strong regional commitment to delivering a successful continental showpiece. Government has already paid $42 million to CAF as part of its hosting commitment and unveiled a 905 billion shilling funding to fast-track readiness across key sectors.
It makes me proud because it also represents the best of football in Tanzania, in Kenya and Uganda, but also in East Africa and on the African continent.
The tournament is expected to draw between 500,000 and 650,000 visitors, with at least $500 million projected in local spending.
When this AFCON comes, it will bring a lot of people here. We may earn more money from people who come than the money we are spending on AFCON. So that must be funded. We are in it. We can't fail.
The funding will support infrastructure, health, transport, hospitality, and tournaments operations under a coordinated national framework led by an inter-sectoral steering forum and the local organizing committee.
So the issue was, which one is a priority of priorities? You need to have Hoima City Stadium because it is a primary competition stadium ready. You have to have Nambole ready. So Akibowa will be ready as a standby facility, meeting all the CAF standards, and we are not compromising on the timelines at all. You're worried about schedule. As long as we have this commitment from government that the funds will be available, and you'll see from the pace we are using with the establishment of the training facilities, be comforted that these roads, the training facilities, the hotels will be done on schedule. We are not the ones who are going to get contractors for these hotels. Remember, individuals are borrowing money to upgrade their hotels. So all we shall be doing is giving technical supervisory support to these proprietors.
In tourism, over 101 billion shillings has been earmarked to boost hotel capacity, while visa fees will be waived to ease travel. On the sports front, funds have been allocated to upgrade Kadiba Stadium, redevelop Nambole, and prepare the Uganda Cranes. Authorities say a whole-of-a-country approach is key, with all major works expected to be completed by January 2027. Ngabo Amon, reporting for UBS TV.
The alternative government in Parliament have presented a budget projection of 71.4 trillion Uganda shillings for financial year 2026-27, which is meant to address issues such as clearing domestic arrears, reducing domestic debt, and excluding statutory expenses from discretionary resource envelope meant to fund development project and also cater for service delivery. Speaking during the launch of the alternative budget priorities at the Parliament, Leader of the Opposition, Joel Senyonyi, said that the priorities focus on safeguarding lives, securing livelihoods, and strengthening institutions.
Members of the opposition in Parliament have raised the concern that the resource envelope, which forms the foundation of the national budget, continues to shift, whereas the second budget, called Circular for financial year 2026-27, projected a total expenditure of 78.2 trillion shillings and domestic revenue at 41.5 trillion. Minister of Finance has revised the figures upwards, indicating estimates of 84.2 trillion shillings in total expenditure and 44.5 trillion in tax revenue. According to the opposition, 44% of the 78.2 trillion shillings is meant to cater for service delivery, noting that 56% of the budget is already committed to debt servicing, refinancing and fixed costs. According to the opposition, whereas the budget projection is large, it does not translate into improved service delivery.
Address the issue of domestic arrears. Government had committed to clearing arrears within 3 years, yet in the proposed budget of government, the allocation has been drastically reduced from 1.4 trillion to a niggardly 200 billion shillings. This is not just a budget adjustment. It's a broken promise. Suppliers and contractors who delivered goods and services to government are now facing bankruptcy. Jobs are being lost.
The opposition, through their leader of opposition, Joel Senyonyi, presented an alternative budget anchored on clearing domestic arrears, reducing domestic debt, safeguarding livelihoods, and what they refer to as building strong institutions.
The reality is that this 71.4 trillion shillings is what we can marshal as resources for the fiscal year. Around accountability, transparency, and governance. Public funds are not always used efficiently. Oversight is weakened. corruption continues to erode public trust. We must strengthen institutions such as the Auditor General, the Inspectorate of Government, and Parliament's oversight committees. Public resources must be managed transparently, and those who misuse them must be held accountable.
Commenting on the national budget priorities, the Executive Director, Civil Society Budgetary Advocacy Group, CSBAG, Julius Mukunda, is concerned with the new tax proposals, especially increasing tax on second-hand clothes, introducing excise duty of 0.2% on value of all cash withdrawals through the financial system, and tax on smartphones.
For me, the other important element is that if this was done across all financial institutions, then you can say you have a tax policy that is equitable and fair. But if you say only the mobile money transactions and you don't target banks, the commercial institutions, in one way you are saying don't use the mobile money. Tax on smartphones, if you have an iPhone, you can say it's a luxury. But there are these low ones of less than $100. That's not a luxury. That is a shop for somebody. That is a...
Speaking on behalf of National Unity Platform President Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu, the acting president, National Unity Platform, Dr. Lina Zedrigan, called for targeted sanctions against corrupt individuals in Uganda. Jim Akena, President Uganda People's Congress, decried the declining number of generaries under the agricultural sector.
Ugandans in the diaspora, I am actively engaging key decision makers and international institutions to scrutinize lending legitimacy and resources. The money they send does not help Ugandans. It's mostly lost to corruption by government officials. We are calling for targeted sanctions against individuals responsible for turning our country into a source of pain.
And I had 53 generaries under the cooperatives. The production was 208 million meters. When you say Uganda's capacity is 150 million, what we need, 150 million. We could produce 208 million in 1971, when our population was about 7 million. The rest was for export. The facilities were there for export. Now look Longo. You go to Mombasa. What is...
The chief opposition whip in Parliament, John Baptist Nambeshe, said their alternative budget priorities are not criticizing the national budget projections, but prioritizes people's welfare over excess and their service delivery. I'm Navka Farida and Gloria Gwitabinji at Parliament.
Uganda's urban transformation journey is entering a new and more secure phase as government rolls out the Uganda Cities and Municipalities Infrastructure Development Program. This new phase builds on the successes of the first and second phases of the USMID, which reshaped urban landscapes across major cities and municipalities. The multi-trillion shilling project is expected to deepen economic growth, create jobs and expand opportunities beyond Kampala into emerging cities.
From dusty, narrow streets to paved, well-lit urban roads, Uganda's cities have over the past decades undergone a visible transformation. Across the first and second phases of the Uganda Support to Municipal Infrastructure Development, USMID, government delivered over 208 kilometers of paved urban roads.
6,312.8 kilometers of pedestrian walkways were constructed. Then 6,342 kilometers of cycle lanes were also completed. Then 127.4 kilometers of designated parking spaces was done.
But even with these gains, pressure on Kampala remains high. It is this challenge that the new Uchmid phase seeks to address.
As government, if more opportunities are created in the secondary cities, then those secondary cities will be the new areas where our youth and women can go and tap.
At the core is a strategy to channel investments through economic corridors. Here, cities will be linked to markets, transport costs will reduce, and growth for small and medium enterprises will be unlocked.
To promote business development and entrepreneurship, create jobs, boost urban revenues, but also increase incomes and improve livelihoods.
The new phase will focus on 5 key pillars: urban roads and mobility, drainage and flood control, green infrastructure and climate resilience, solid waste management, local economic development, and job creation. The project comes at a cost of $540 million, approximately 2.1 trillion Uganda shillings, funded with support from the World Bank.
So the $80 million, which is a grant, is a part of the 540.
The previous phases, worth about $510 million combined, laid the groundwork for this expansion. Their successful implementation is what unlocked the new funding.
We have got this additional funding because the previous project was implemented in a way that was satisfactory not only to government of Uganda but to the World Bank, who is funding the project.
The Uchmid program will target cities, municipalities, and refugee hosting districts. Implementation is expected to kick off in the 2026-2027 financial year, following agreements, procurement, and stakeholder engagement.
As a ministry, we are looking forward to cooperation and support from all government MDAs for the successful implementation of this Uchmid.
As Uganda looks towards its Vision 2040 goals, Uchmid will define the next chapter of urban growth, where cities will become engines of prosperity. Henry Okrut, UBC.
Security in Apac district has dismissed earlier reports that Apac Seed Secondary School was attacked by gangs, describing the information as misleading. Authorities now say that the incident that left several students injured happened outside the school premises. From Lira, Ed Yolua has it in detail.
Speculation spread quickly across the region after reports emerged of a suspected gang attack at Apac Seed Secondary School on Easter Sunday, in which 6 students were severely injured.
An unfortunate incident of Gaba should be an eye-opener. So there is no such an attack. It should be clear that the one of Apac Seed was just an assault on the student who had gone out of the school.
The resident district commissioner for Apac, Andrew Nyok, says investigations by security agencies painted a different picture.
Or the village community never wanted the students' community to interfere with their girls or even to dance with their girls. And then the student from this side, because there were also some which are girls, never wanted the village people to interfere with their girls. So in that confusion and misunderstanding, the fighting started from there.
The head teacher of the school also explains that earlier in the evening the school had held a talent show and film night in line with the new lower secondary curriculum. Students later returned to their dormitories and attendance was confirmed. However, as the night progressed, a group of students reportedly sneaked out of the school and made their way to a nearby trading center less than a kilometer away for a disco. Tensions escalated as students reportedly mixed with the members of the community, leading to a confrontation over local girls. The situation quickly turned violent, with attackers using pangas and knives.
We don't allow them to get out, and the rule is very clear. We have read to them and they are aware. Last Monday, I suspended the guard who entered out. So we are yet waiting for from the police, and we have not yet concluded our investigation. In our school rules, once you get out without permission, you are suspended indefinitely.
Yeah, but in custody, I think we have about 7, and that is when the police will be interested in putting them to responsibility of what they have done. Even those students who are injured, they were able to identify about 2 of them that they were the people who fought them.
Even the community around here, they were beaten like nothing.
Like somebody who have even come just to witness what is happening. Seriously beaten. And some other people, they grab money from them. A reconciliation must be done.
Put us as a community down, plus the school, to come and solve this problem. If not, this will become worse.
Our school is fenced partially, is not complete. There's a portion which is not yet fenced. So they use that area which is not fenced to get out. With the results are produced, with the 6 years I've been here, the parents are aware of my commitment and my team in seeing that the discipline is restored in the school. I will remove all the maggots from the classroom.
6 students were injured in the clash, 2 of them critically. Authorities say most have since stabilized, with the only one still admitted at Apac General Hospital. Ediulwa, UBC News.
State Minister for Finance, Planning and Economic Development, Amos Lugorobi, has urged the Kuku community to embrace peaceful coexistence and remain steadfast in faith, trusting God's plan for their lives. He made the remarks while officiating as chief guest at the launch of Musalaba's 5th album at Sharing Hall in Zambia.
Uganda diverse communities have played a vital role in fostering peace, coexistence for national growth. The Kuku community, a Nilotic ethnic group from South Sudan, have launched an album that depicts their cultural diversity in a digital world. State Minister for Finance, Amos Lugorobi, launched the album, reaffirming government support for community initiatives.
They needed songs of this kind, that gives them the courage. Because music is actually, this church music especially, is divine. It comes from God. Psalm 100, verse 1 to 2, really talks about it. It is divine. It awakens the spirit, it gives joy in the minds of people, even those that have lost hope. So it has been a very important day for us. We have been able to restore our hope in Jesus Christ, to restore our hope that even under very difficult circumstances, that there is a God who restores peace in our minds.
The organizers pledged to reinvigorate touch and creative arts to align in today's world of copyright and neighboring rights act. They called for stakeholder support.
We can express our language and the culture in some music, gospel music, which is so interesting, especially from the Anglican sector.
Today it is a wonderful day that as a Kuku, we are standing to proclaim this message to everyone and all nations. The person of the community, I'm really very, very, very happy because it is one way of promoting our language.
Tuteseeyo tusobole kufuna support, tusobole kukola ki, tusobole kufuna ntambula ne facilities ezimu gye twetaaga, era nga tuyita mu kuyimba, mu kuweereza Katonda. Nze ewaffe Kayunga, nange nze ni muwagizi wa NRM, era nga nze njagala nnyo, era nga amawulire gano gasobole kugenda batuuke era nga tata waffe mu mbeera yonna singa asobola okutukwatirako tusobole kugula minibus eyo, kuba twagironkinga nga brand new eri ku million 17, naye nga ffe tetulina kasente bulungi, era bajeti yaffe esobola tukyalina million 22.
The Katikiro of Buganda, Charles Peter Maiga, has urged the people of Buganda and Uganda in general to embrace health insurance to take care of their health. He called upon insurance companies to be responsible and work together with those they serve. This was during the launch of Kabala's Tubeere Balamu initiative organized by the Kabaka Foundation and Jubilee Insurance at Bulange Mengo. Maiga also bought a health insurance policy with Jubilee Insurance.
Okubuuza ebibuuzo ku buli kye munaaba temutegedde bulungi mukitegeere mmwe abakulembeze bwe munaabitegeera kijja kuba kyangu nnyo okunnyonnyola abo abantu be mukulembera enkola eno ekola etya kubanga oluusi abantu batya ebya yinsuwa baakolanga empapula nnyingi bawandika obunukuta obuti nti yayinza kubusoma kaakati bwe kituuka okusasula ne bakuzinyisa amazina tunula eno tunula eri kano wakalaba kalito wakalaba abantu mubannyonnyole kubanga bino bituliko bijja kuba bwe bityo n'akatono njagala mujje wano mu nnyunge Kabaka Foundation neweerinde mujje mu nnyunge ku nteekateeka eno abantu bategeere nti siri ng'oli gwe bagamba nti kolanga bwe ngambye.
Illness does not wait for the next outreach. Families continue to struggle silently, facing difficult choices between seeking treatment and meeting daily needs. And that's why today is so important. Today we want to move from that temporary relief to a sustainable healthcare protection. How do we impact and protect lives? How do we ensure that that 40% that is diverted as an out-of-pocket healthcare spend goes to better use like education, development, agriculture, investment, savings, you mean it.
Kuleme kuba bagayaavu ekigambo kino Ssaabasajja Kabaka kyatuteereddewo ekyokufunira tubeereramu insurance n'ebigambo ebirala ebyabannyonnyoddwa mu nsisa z'ebyobulamu ze tukola n'ebbanga eriyinza okuyitawo nga tetunnaddayo tugyeyune tugyettanire tugitegeeze n'abalala bagyettanire.
Jubilee Insurance nsaba mujje wano.
Uganda's preparedness to respond to disaster and support affected communities took center stage on Front Bench, the flagship current affairs program on UBC TV. Panelists highlighted the need to strengthen interagency coordination to protect vulnerable populations amid rising climate-related disasters.
Recovery, evaluating Uganda's disaster resettlement framework is...
Government, in collaboration with development partners, has intensified efforts to enhance emergency response mechanisms, including resettlement planning, land acquisition, and post-disaster recovery for affected communities.
We look at how to prevent disasters, how to mitigate, and also how to support recovery. This is all a very big approach, and the system has challenges and also how we can handle some of the things.
Panelists emphasized community-driven preparedness initiatives, strengthened early warning systems, and robust institutional accountability to build resilience and ensure timely, effective emergency response, especially in high-risk areas.
And when we detect that there is a likelihood of a disaster happening, we normally coordinate with the districts. And we have what they call the District Disaster Committee. So we coordinate with these people. We see how to address those disasters that we have probably highlighted that might happen.
The April 6, 2026 live edition featured Alex Kakoza, Permanent Secretary in the Office of the Prime Minister, and Liliana Ba, exploring institutional readiness and resilient recovery under the theme Evaluating Uganda's Disaster Resettlement Framework, drawing national attention to Uganda's emergency response capacity.
When a disaster happens, the first thing is rescue. We have to go and make sure that we pull out people alive, and then we account for those who we haven't managed to pull out. Two, we must ensure access to the site, because sometimes before you take relief, you should be able to access the place.
Panelists highlighted progress in coordination, relief distribution, and community rehabilitation while acknowledging persistent gaps in early warning dissemination, emergency financing, and rapid response capacity.
We work with partners because for two reasons. We would have to procure food. Sometimes by the time it happens, we don't have, our stores are empty.
So the Ministry of Disaster under the Office of the Prime Minister is the center of coordination. So what do? We work together with other ministries. We do what we call an interministerial approach.
Airing weekly at 8:30 p.m., Front Bench continues to bridge policymakers and citizens, advancing governance, policy reform, transparency, and resilient national.
This is the Front Bench.
Then we have to...
When you don't use Momo, you are forced to quarrel.
Mama, nkuwaire 15.
Ompaire 15.
Abantu abakuluma atandise obuyayi mwene.
Obuyayi obuliga.
Iwe.
Ngobi yanko bantu
sente dange ninzade kolera ngobi nakolera sente dange.
Save yourself from quarreling. Use the Momo app or dial *165*3# to pay and enjoy zero charges below 5K. That's the power of Momo. When you don't use Momo, you get insulted by strangers. Save yourself from insults. Use the Momo app or dial *165*3# to pay and enjoy zero charges below 5K. That's the power of Momo.
Are you a woman with a small-scale business with a dream of growing it to another level? The GROW Project is here to support you in realizing your dream.
The GROW Project is a government initiative implemented by the Ministry of Gender, Labour and Social Development and Private Sector Foundation Uganda with support from the World Bank.
We support women-owned businesses across the country to gain hands-on and business management skills through training within your location, business financing through grants and affordable loans, and infrastructure in your areas of operation to enable you to increase your productivity.
If you have a business that makes sales of up to 800,000 Uganda shillings per month, the GROW Project has the tools and resources to help you succeed. For more information, contact your district or city GROW focal person or call our toll-free line on 0800 307 777 to learn more about how you can benefit from the GROW Project's services.
The GROW Project, empowering women economically, transforming communities.
Business news tonight. Uganda Nurses and Midwives Union is taking steps to streamline nurses working in the United Arab Emirates in partnership with government. This was revealed during a press conference to address renewed commitment to Uganda's health workforce.
The move to regulate and streamline nurses heading to the Middle East comes at a time when many young professionals have abandoned the profession due to poor working conditions, opting instead for casual labor.
And for people who have traveled, when you reach like Dubai airport, you find the people written on their t-shirts, "Can I help you?" Some of those people are graduates from Uganda, others are nurses, others are doctors. So as a result, we want to see that that system stops. And we want our nurses to be exported in their professions. And they should go and work decently. So that's the reason we have also signed the MOU with True Merit and Goodwill to see that instead of our people going as maids and the supermarket attendants, they can go and work in their nursing and midwifery professions.
The president of the union, Justice Cherop Chiplangat, commended the government for extending the State House Scholarship program to nurses and midwives and outlined the criteria that will be used in selecting beneficiaries for the scholarships.
The scholarship is for membership, for members of the union, and because we had forgotten for it, the members should be benefiting. Then two is that we pick by region. We make sure that we balance the regions. Each region brings one. Then again another region like that. Then also we also look at the performance, how good you are, and then we look at also the need for the scholarship, because there are those who can manage to pay their own school fees and get knowledge. Then we are also looking at specialties, because a special course is very expensive, like masters. We offer masters and degrees, those who are going for specialty. So we give them those awards of scholarship.
Chiplangat further reminded President Yoweri Museveni about the previously pledged 1 billion shillings and requested an increase to at least 25 billion shillings to support self-empowerment initiatives through the nurses' SACCO.
Nurses and midwives in this country have never benefited with the SACCO money. So you also went ahead to instruct the Ministry of Finance to provide some money for the nurses, and the letters we have them, and the dummy check we have them. So we want to ask ourselves, when are we receiving this SACCO money, so that we also have a fair and good welfare for the nurses and midwives of this country.
For UBC News, I am Sudat Kaye.
Uganda High Commissioner to Australia, Dorothy Yuha, has said that Uganda is lobbying Australia to strengthen bilateral ties so that Ugandan communities living in Australia attract investment back home. She said in Canberra, Ugandans abroad are mobilized to engage partners in investment into the trade, tourism and international engagement.
The second area where I want to appreciate Uganda is that when we have organized, recently we went to attend the Melbourne International Coffee Expo. Why? Because Uganda is one of the leading countries for production of coffee and for exportation of coffee. We went to Melbourne to showcase that Uganda has that potential. We want investors, and we did a lot of lobbying. We did a lot of distribution of materials. We did coffee cupping, and I want to thank you Ugandans who were there, who found the time and joined us.
Senior players, come to the photo. Senior players, come to the photo. Because I'm not living in Uganda.
Makindye University Business School is emphasizing public speaking skills to foster integrity, confidence and business success. The principal Moses Muhwezi says that this aligns to the competence-based curriculum being implemented by the education sector.
A staggering number of businesses in Uganda failed to make their first anniversary due to inadequate planning, insufficient funding, lack of market research, and most importantly, poor communication skills of the proprietor. According to experts, many entrepreneurs struggle to effectively convey their vision, negotiate with clients, and build strong relationships with employees, leading to misunderstandings, lost sales, and high staff turnover.
The discipline of the business people themselves, they are unable to separate business from their home affairs. The man in the business is the one they pick and go for entertainment. There are many factors, but communication is equally important.
It's for this reason that Makerere University Business School, MOBS, is fronting public speaking as a tool to inculcate integrity, build confidence, and businesses that not only survive but thrive.
When we deal with communication, we make our students visible. It makes them visible. They are business school students, and they should be able to stand out in the public and address the masses, but also address the business community, address their clients, the etiquette. How do you talk to clients? Do you shout at them? Do you talk to them nicely? Do you welcome them into your business? So public speaking is very important, and as a business school, we think it's important. It will give our students that way to be unique from all other students in the country.
Professor Moses Muhwezi, the principal of Makerere University Business School, challenges business owners to seize opportunities to upskill and prioritize building strong relationships with stakeholders.
How do you give feedback when people ask you questions? How do you answer? When do you answer? How do you ensure communication is effective so that you have that group of customers that will stick to you? So we call upon the business community. Take interest in what the business school does. Please come, get a certificate. Even if it's a certificate in communication, it will make your business grow.
The school has hosted a public speaking competition for students pursuing business administration, a short targeting to equip learners from campus to careers.
Because it is believed that money flows where there is value. What is your value?
Makerere University Business School's Associate Professor Rogers Mwesigwa, who doubles as the Dean, Business Administration, says they intend to widen their web to capture more learners for a greater impact.
Maybe if BCom, if 20 students from Bachelor of Commerce expresses interest, they first compete up to the final point. BBC, they compete up to the final point. BBA, then maybe finally we have compete two per program at the final, so that it is a recognized school-wide activity.
Makerere University Business School exists to be the benchmark for business and management education, research and training. Dorcas Kimono, UBC News.
The Fort Real Star Monthly Sports Awards for March have rewarded rally driver Hassan Alui, woman footballer Chiza Doreen, Jacob Kiplimo for a new half-marathon world record, and boxer David Semuju, who defended the title for the second time in Japan.
Sport, things are getting better, things are definitely getting more advanced, and of course the use of technology as well to avoid all the mishaps that were happening in the past. I think this is definitely a positive change. And for Team IUEA, I think it's a lot bigger than just us. This is just the two involved in the cockpit. But we have a big team behind us, our community as well, the university, and of course our team, our families are all behind us and have all been very positive and energetic about this win as well.
We had 4 disciplines which were so busy compared to others. We went into football, we had rally, we had also athletics. There were those people who did so well in the previous month. I managed to get Yusuf Ali here, who beat those people in the rally. rallying had also some competitions. We had ARC event in Nairobi and then NRC event in Uganda. So some people are saying to go with the winner of ARC2, and then others said, if he's a winner, how comes when he came to NRC, Alui beat him? He didn't even come to the podium. That is Ntambi. So we decided to go with Alui, who managed to beat Ntambi, who previously had beaten those guys on the continent. Then in football, we went for the ladies. That lady called Kiza Doreen. They are trying to do something good in the Ghana League as far as women football is concerned. Unfortunately, she didn't come here because she was out of the country at the moment as we speak now. But again, even if she's around, at least she knows people appreciated her performance, which she put up last month, and I know she can be consistent even for this month of April. Then we went also for athletics, where Primo went and made it all record breaking. The guys how he put up the show and he went abroad, so he beat those guys in the athletics. Those are the people who came here, who we looked into, because other sports institutions were not that busy, but at least these people put up a good show both locally and internationally.
That is all we had for you tonight. Thank you so much for watching 8 and 10 p.m. My name is Micheal Jordan Lukomwa from Newsroom. We wish you the best of the night. Bye-bye.
UBC, inspiring Uganda.
Exercise can't be sustained. Eating can't be stopped. It's even harder to lose weight. Come and give it a try. Genshikang L-carnitine chromium capsules. Plant extract, scientific ratio. Take 3 capsules each time. The active ingredient accelerates fat burning, eat twice a day. Don't take a detour. Weight loss starts now. Genshikang L-carnitine with chromium capsules helps you stay in shape. Please follow medical advice when taking this product. For more information, visit our website www.hgo.com or call 0800-335555.
Every Wednesday, live in our studios in the heart of Kampala.
We have to change the political culture in this country, really. Who has bewitched Ugandans?
I want to assure you, as government, we shall do whatever it takes to ensure that Ugandans are safe.
We have conversations that have analysis, explanation.
This law society, this union of theirs, because they want a job everywhere, they want to be this, they want to be that, they want... No. We know it's a union.
You cannot be making a road, bitumen grade 1, in Congo for 5 billion.
But not every truth is fact, and not every fact is truth.
The argument that the General Court Martial is responsible for peace and stability is without basis, either in law or in fact.
We have been told how Napoleon was a great orator. Now, Napoleon cannot help me get food. They told me combine harvest in Saskatchewan. I don't know where Saskatchewan is. This is a geography we're taught. Instead of teaching me how to preserve Mabera forest, they're teaching me about Rhineland. This is a problem we got. We cannot run away from it.
Right now, you hear very disgusting stories of members of parliament. Instead of discussing the details of loans, they ask for their cuts.
Every Wednesday, 10 p.m. on your public broadcaster.
All on your public broadcaster, UBC, inspiring Uganda.
Kabarole district is located in western Uganda, about 320 kilometers west of Kampala city. It is bordered by Chenjojo district to the east, Ntoroko district to the north, Chibale district to the northeast, Kamwenge district to the southeast, Bunyangabo district to the south, DRC to the southwest, and Bundibujo to the west. It forms part of Toro Kingdom. The main economic activity of the population is subsistence agriculture and animal husbandry. One of the farmers in Rutete sub-county, Kwezi Evans Kabagonji, is 70 years old. She owns a banana plantation. She received 1 million shillings PDM money and invested it in her banana plantation. Kabagonji has benefited from growing bananas, which has improved her income.
Kwezi hasimo yange mwabaki mperire basi ngenda mu maiso ija ntandika gukora umurimo gwango gwakuzireki ubu nazitungire nkozese ibitoke byange ntemereza basuye kakurungi babinganiza enyuma naroraga ngo mu mwezi gumu nso kutema mu ibitoke nka 20 bitu hati ntema mu ibitoke 45 mu mwezi nasanga nikingabwire mu amani kandi tincha atuntura hati ndikungi nisemero mu byona nensima NRM nensima NRM bemeriro kurora kumanyira itu abacheke mu kyaro abahansi nagamba mukamuli murungi ninyongera kusabira muzeyi we Kaguta Museveni ayongera kwemera habo kuba mukisani kyange mutwara nka ruhangu yatumira musambana Baisaleri kubiha Misiri na Museveni akaja kuchungura hitwe aba tumaze kwa basibe tumaze kurangatanizebo tutwine na bhumuru tutwine bwihora agambira nka baito byezire agamba tunangu dekandola abahansi emyaka nyine nsanju nena nanyo bunu bukwentera kwesobora bita bukurora omanya muntu ensanju nena nabaka ikwene bitekerezo hati bwacha ndali yake